Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Why is this young kid wearing ratty clothes? It's because today I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks on how professionals stain decks. I've got my brother Nathan behind the camera with me. I'm Nick with Tidewater Painting, and we are here to show you how to stain a deck.
And now that I'm not behind the camera, I'll be giving you your first step in your prep. The first thing you do, start by taping the low. Normally you go 10 feet past either way. Your amount of plastic and tape is up to you. But you tape the bottom lip all the way down, tape one edge of your plastic to the tape, then bring the plastic all the way up and tape it up top. All right, and now we'll go over to Nick to tell you what tools you need.
Okay, so today you're gonna need an extension cord. We go with about 100 feet of extension cord because it gives you plenty of options where you can move your sprayer around. So the sprayer that we're using, I'm glad you asked, is the Graco Ultra 395. So this is typically it's a bigger grade sprayer. It's a commercial sprayer, but we use it just about every day to stain decks and everything. Got about 75 feet of hose, and the gun is just a standard Graco spray gun. The tip that we use, that's a 313. The 3 stands for the fan, which is a 6-inch spray fan, so you double that first number and that gives you how wide your spray fan is. That's a 6-inch spray fan. Now, we have a can that we use. This is just an empty can. Don't read what's on the label. A lot of times we rip the label off, but it's just an empty can for, you know, using it to put a brush in and cut in whatever you need to cut in around hinges and stuff like that that are on the deck. A blower to blow off the deck before you get started. You do not want leaves or sticks or rocks or anything in your stain. You want it to be completely clean, which also brings me back to my first point. You want to power wash the deck before any of this. I didn't show you that step, but that video is coming soon. Now, moving on, you want some rags. You want clean rags because anywhere that stain gets on, if it's a waterborne stain, which we use Super Deck Sherwin Williams, a waterborne stain will come off just with a wet rag. So if you get it on vinyl siding, if you get it on, you know, anything really, you can just put enough water on it that it'll come right out. Now, gotta get a shield in there. This shield has obviously got some mileage on it. This shield keeps the spray, the overspray off the brick. It keeps it off of the concrete ground. It keeps it off of pretty much anything you don't want to get it on. You just put your shield down and you spray and pray. So, here's some tape. You got to get some tape and plastic because obviously we've showed you that you have to plastic off the house if it's vinyl. If it's brick, tape doesn't like to stick to brick, so we'll show you how to do that in a future video. Last thing is a bucket for water because everybody likes water. Oh, the last thing I did not mention that you need when you're staining a deck are drop cloths. You want to make sure that you have old drop cloths that you're not afraid to get any stain on or anything, because what this is going to do is protect your concrete from overspray, and it's going to protect you know, any sort of accidents or mishaps that you may have.
Now that you're equipped to handle the deck with your equipment, and you have equipped the deck to be handled, it's time to handle it. So now that we've got our spray rig set up and the entire deck prepped, we're going to put a coat on.
Okay, the reason that we aren't back brushing this first coat and we're just spraying it out is because the wood is actually absorbent, and it absorbs the stain so fast that we can't brush it before it dries. So the second coat, we actually come back and back brush it really well, and we'll show you that in just a minute. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. That's www.facebook.com/Tidewater Painting, and our Instagram name is just Tidewater Painting. You can look at those links in the description below. And right after this first coat dries, we're going to go ahead and put a second coat on, so we'll be back with you in just a second.
Now, the difference between the first and the second coats is that the first coat, you can start spraying if you want to before you cut in. That's okay. But there are areas on the house, of course, that you will need to cut in. For instance, right here, you see this is concrete extremely close to this little skirt piece, or whatever you want to call it, of the deck. So this isn't even sprayed, and as you can see, the rest of it is sprayed. We're going to end up brushing that for the second coat. Also, you'll need to pay attention to the areas next to the house over there on each side of the deck. You have brick and concrete and vinyl next to you, so you have to be very careful with that. As far as the painters are concerned, our job will be the same. However, I will need to back brush the entire flat of the deck. That gives you a very nice finish, and it helps avoid things like spray lines or sags or any runs.
So another thing we'd like to point out too is that we are using a sprayer because we're doing this professionally and we have permission from our boss to make a video about it. So obviously you can paint this whole deck with a brush and a roller. If you use a roller, just be aware that you want to get down in the cracks of the wood. That's a lot of the reason we don't use a roller, but as long as you use a brush in addition to a roller, you know, I've seen great results come out of decks. So that's pretty much it for the first coat. We're gonna go ahead and put a second coat on, and you'll see that in just a second. Okay, so what is gonna happen now is actually Nathan here is going to take over the sprayer. Now that we have a full coat on all the inside of the handrails here, he's gonna go ahead and spray the floor, and I'm gonna use this brush right here to back brush it out. We're gonna do 3 boards at a time. Make sure you're getting down in these cracks here, just like that. Really work it into those rough spots there. So he's putting it on nice and even, nice and thick, so he can back brush it down in those cracks, just like we had talked about before. We already went ahead and did the rest of this deck, the floor. We have this half of the floor done, and this is, he's working his way backwards and then down the steps, so we don't have any sort of stepping in wet paint issue. Okay, and that's it for today. We just finished up this deck and we are about to wrap everything up. We went ahead and pulled all the plastic down off of the house. We folded up all the drop cloths to make, you know, our work area clean. And we finished up the second coat on all the handrails, spindles, tops, bottom, floor, on the skirt around the bottom here. It's kind of weird painting with semi-solid though, because any sort of semi-transparent or semi-solid, you immediately have to untrain your mind of any painting knowledge, because the number one thing to know is that you're painting to partially cover. And that is so weird to think about, but it's the truth when you're staining a deck with semi-solid or semi-transparent or transparent. Now if you're doing it with solid, that's a whole different story, but we'll get to that in another video. So I just want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing. Go ahead and check out our Instagram in the description below. Go ahead and check out our Facebook page in the description below. So I'm Nick.
And I'm Nathan.
And this is Tidewater Painting, and we just want to say thank you for watching this video today and learning how to stain a deck. Have a good day.